Hello, folks, and welcome to another Wise Gamer video. You ever get to the point where you kind of ran out of ideas for games? You know, you just finished your last game, or if it's a ongoing MMO game, sometimes you still like to break it up with another system game or another MMO or whatever. But I'm going to go over some of the tricks that I use when it comes to purchasing a game to make sure that that game's really for me before I shell out any money for it. Because there's nothing worse than paying for a game that when you spend money on it and you finally get into it about an hour or two and it's like, this really is not for me. You know, I'm pretty picky with games because I mainly play just Japanese RPG games and some MMOs and stuff like that, like World of Warcraft. But for most times, I do not play too many shooter games, racing games, or sports games. I'm not putting them down. It's just something that I'm not really into. You know, I like that world, that wide open adventure. So a lot of times I get stuck because I finish a game, I feel like playing another game, but I don't have an idea of which game to get next. So I'm going to show you guys what I do when I search for a new game to play. And most of the times I buy the game and then I make a rip of it and I play it on my computer system with emulators or whatnot. So one of the main things that I go over, I'm going to break this down in different formats. The first one I'm going to touch on is trying to find good MMO type games. Okay, now what I'll do when it comes to the more popular MMO games a lot of times is I'll go to Twitch. Now Twitch, and I'll try to provide most of the links to all these sites that I'm going to be using in this video. But I'm sure you guys all know about these formats and websites by now. Twitch is the ever popular. This is probably the most popular live game in streaming that there is. So a lot of times, if I'm looking for a new type MMO or even a new PC game, this is a good place to usually come and browse. And you could see right here that usually the top games being played. Now, it's not saying that this is the best game, it's just because a lot of these games are free. That's why a lot of times World of Warcraft now they only got 16,000 viewers compared to like 300,000 from League of Legends. But I think a lot of that is because League of Legends is also free. World of Warcraft we have to pay for. But most of the MMOs that I know of, except for World of Warcraft, is usually free. You might just have to buy the game, but you don't have to pay for a sub each month. So this is a good place to come and just see what a lot of the games are that people are playing right now. And then if you click on see all live games, you could see a bigger list of all kinds of games that people are broadcasting in Twitch. And this can give you a nice list of what's out there, what's being played, and then you could click on one of them and watch somebody play it to see if it's something that you like, to see if it's a game that you would enjoy. I want to add too with Twitch, you don't really have to set up an account to browse a game. Like right now, I have an account, but I'm not logged into it, so you could still watch the games and people play them, and you could even see the chat room going on sometimes if it's not locked out to only subscribers for that channel. Um, but you could still, without an account, come in here. You just can't chat back in the chat box here when you use Twitch, unless if you set up a free account. But it's a nice way to come in. You could, if you do set up an account, you could ask them questions while they're playing it instead of waiting 2 or 3 days for somebody to get back to you from YouTube, because that's not live. Although YouTube does have a live streaming also, but you know what I mean. Um, so this is a great place to come and get an idea of different games that you may want to play. And then, of course, we have the ever popular, very popular right now, is Steam games. Now, Steam is a platform where you could come, set up an account, and you could buy games here. You could review them. People will write in the forums of each game what they think about the game. You could. They also have guides sometimes and videos about the game. and you just basically click on the kind of a game that you're looking for. Like in my case, it's usually RPG games, okay? And then you could also, they have a list here where you can narrow down your search results when you're looking for a particular game. Like if you want it to be a single player game, you could check that off, and now only single player games are going to show. They don't have one for turn based, which I wish that they did because that happens to be my favorite. But they don't that I could see, unless if there's another spot in here that's got that. And then it also has full controller support games, which most of them are now anyways. And it's also they also got MMOs too, and a lot of the MMOs here are actually free. You know how good they are, I don't know, but some of these games you do have to pay for, and that's when you have to set up an account so you can use a credit card and all that. And so far, it's been very safe for me. Steam is a very good company. I like using them a lot, and this is another way that you could also search for games. This one is my favorite, believe it or not. It's an old website called RPG Classics. RPG Classics, because again, I play mostly RPG games. So this website I use the most. And what I usually do here, because I use the PlayStation 2 emulator a lot, is I'll go to Browse by System, or I also have the Super Nintendo emulator, and I have the consoles when they're working too. But right now, I don't have any of the modern consoles, and the only reason being is because I don't find it worth it for me to pay $400 or $500 for a system that they may only have 2 or 3 releases that I may actually enjoy playing. Because as we know, Japanese RPG games aren't as popular as they once were. So this website right here I use a lot of times to just because they got a full list of each game. Like in my case, the one that I use the most is the PlayStation 2 emulator. So I'll just click on PlayStation 2, and as you could see, they got the whole list. Like almost every RPG game that was ever released on PlayStation 2. And then you can click on the game, and it'll give you a little more information. They also have walkthroughs in here. They have world maps in here. They have a lot of things in this website. Let me see if they actually have a walkthrough for this. I don't actually see one. A lot of times they're in the left here. You have to look in the left here in this column. All right, and it'll say walkthrough and all that stuff. But what I'll do now is when I do this, whenever I research any game and I'm still not 100% sure, even watching somebody on Twitch, sometimes they may not be covering a part that I want to know about. Or they may be in a dungeon for 2 hours and I don't feel like watching their stream that long. So I end up leaving before I actually see the towns, what the world looks like, and all that stuff. Because that stuff to me is really important. Like I said, I really like a game with a lot of wide open world exploring and a lot of towns and stuff. I like a lot of activity in games, you know. So what I'll do here next is I'll just simply highlight the name of the game here, copy it, and then my next tool is the ever popular and my favorite, which is YouTube, which we all use, right? And then I'll usually come here, put in the game, and I usually like to go for reviews. So I'll type in review after it and see if there's any videos on this. Okay, I might even see one of my own videos in here. I don't know. All right, so here's one right here. Game sample. I guess that's good enough, you know. And I'll watch about 3 or 4 of these videos, and they got to be commentary. They got to be somebody that's explaining the game, so I know what the heck's going on. Just watching somebody playing fast motion with music blasting doesn't tell me a damn thing about the game. So I usually come here whenever I come across a title that looks like it might be good for me, a game that's right up my alley, and then I'll come here and watch a couple of videos to make sure that that game is really something I want to play before I go out and buy it, you know. Even if you pay $3 for a game, it's still $3 you could have put towards another game that you actually like. What good is a game that sits in a box? You know? So that's why I take time. I'll take a half a day sometimes just to research a new game I want to play. Plus, in this day and age, we know with websites, browsers, YouTube, Twitch, all these tools, all these neat tools, that we could usually find out any information we want about any gaming out there. Okay, so another good friend here is Google. Just type in top MMOs or something. 2016 if you want to play a new one, and you're going to get lists of them. You know, and then again, you could go back to YouTube and watch in-depth review videos of people that actually played it, explaining to you what the game's about, so you know before you blow your money on it. Okay, and then we could also do that again too for YouTube. Just go back to YouTube and put in best RPG games for, and they're coming up already. PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and all that stuff. So use these tools and just watch videos on them. Watch a few if you have to narrow down your results to see if, and once you get that warm feeling inside that we all get when it's something that we like, then you know now, okay, this is a game, write it down. And then once you get the money, you could not even go to a store. You could probably go to Amazon or something and download it with a, what do they call that? Oh my God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I use it all the time because that's the way I usually buy my games, but not all of them. Where you stream them, where you download them. They download instantly into your computer as soon as you put in your credit card number and all that good stuff, and then you just install it and then you could play it. But I know a lot of times the older games, like PlayStation 2 games, you need the emulator for it. So some of them still have that too. So these are the options I use. I wanted to share to you guys of how I look for a new game, um, and things like that. Okay, so again, thanks for watching Wise Gamer, and you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye bye.